Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Homestead on a Prayer. We're out here by the garlic patch today because I am going to harvest my garlic. Now, admittedly, I'm not 100% sure. I'm probably harvesting a little bit on the early side. Let me show you what my garlic looks like. So I usually like to harvest my garlic when basically half the plant or so has kind of turned brown. Get this stick out of here. So when at least a minimum of 3 leaves have basically dried up and turned brown is when I like to harvest it. And I don't think I'm quite at that point yet, although we are pretty close. So I'm thinking of harvesting it slightly early for a couple reasons. One is that the past couple years I've waited until, you want to wait as long as possible because that's going to give you the maximum size on your garlic bulb. But you don't want to wait too long because what can happen if you wait too long is that the cloves can start to split, because that's how garlic would reproduce itself in the ground, is by splitting, and then each of those cloves will turn into an entire garlic plant. So if you wait too long, your garlic is going to start doing that. And what happens when the cloves split is that they lose some of that outer wrapper that's protecting them, and they're not going to store as long. So because of that, you want to find that sweet spot when the clove has when the head has the maximum size, but before the cloves really start to split. And the past couple years, I've waited probably slightly too long, and I've had some heads of garlic that started to split. So I want to avoid that this year. The other reason why I'm going to go ahead and pull my garlic a little bit early is because I have mostly German white garlic, also sometimes called German extra hardy garlic. That's my reliable, faithful go-to. But I'm also trying elephant garlic for the first time. So you'll see the bulk of this garlic bed is the German white garlic. Over here I have the elephant garlic, and you can see this looks, actually, I really should have harvested the elephant garlic sooner because I hadn't really grown it before. I didn't really know what to look for. I did harvest a couple heads of the elephant garlic just to see what it looked like. One of the elephant garlic heads that I harvested was starting to split. And some of them, it almost seemed like the stem where it met the garlic bulb was starting to rot a little bit. We did get a fair amount of rain this spring. We actually haven't had that much rain lately, but early this spring we did get a fair amount. So because of that, I'm wondering if the garlic is maybe at risk of rotting in the ground. So what I'm going to do is definitely going to pull all the elephant garlic today. I'm going to pull a couple heads of the German white garlic, and we're going to take a look at it and see how it looks, see if we should finish harvesting this entire garlic bed today. So I'm not really sure what to expect with this elephant garlic. Now you can see there's a lot of variation here. This is elephant garlic. I really should have harvested this already. This is also elephant garlic. You can see there's a big difference in the thickness of the stem. For the most part, the thickness of the garlic stem is going to correspond to the size of the garlic head itself. So for the most part, when you see the really nice thick garlic stalks, you know that is most likely going to give you a sizable head of garlic. So that's a good sign. But I will say the elephant garlic, it was a little bit of a gamble for me because I have heard that in my area, elephant garlic doesn't necessarily do the best. Hardneck garlic, like the German white that I have here, is really reliable in my area. But the elephant garlic was a little bit of, just an experiment. I just wanted to try something new. So I'm not sure what to expect with that. The one head that I pulled that was starting to split was decent size. It wasn't as big as some that you see, but it was good enough that I was happy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the rest of the elephant garlic first and let you know how it did. So if your soil is not as loose as mine, you'll want to take out the garlic head rather than pulling. I can just kind of stick my hand in. And that one's decent size. It is definitely splitting. And it's got those little corms on the end. So this garlic head is decent size, but you can see that it is definitely splitting. It's got these little corms on the end, which I think I can use those to grow more garlic as well. Those will probably take a couple years to grow into a full-size garlic head. So I wish I'd harvested a little bit sooner. If I was paying better attention, not being so busy with life, I would have seen that the elephant garlic should have been harvested a little bit sooner. But I'm going to go ahead and harvest the rest of the elephant garlic, and we'll see what we get. So the one that I already harvested is probably going to be the biggest. This one's a little bit smaller. But you can see the individual cloves on this garlic head are really large. I think there's 3 main cloves plus the little corms. This one's really small. And yeah, not bad. So here you can see most of my elephant garlic harvest. You know, I only planted a couple cloves of elephant garlic. Not sure how many, maybe about 10 or so. And I already harvested a few heads of the garlic. So I did get a couple. Let me see. This one here looks like it's basically one giant clove. So that's kind of interesting. I have heard of that happening sometimes if you plant your garlic in the spring. Supposedly people say that it needs the cold weather of winter to split into cloves, and then the individual cloves will grow. Now, we definitely had winter, and a lot of my other ones did split into cloves. So I'm not sure. I may replant this and see what happens next year. I'm thinking with the elephant garlic, this is obviously a much smaller harvest than what I'm going to get from my German white garlic, which is expected. I mean, mainly because I planted very few cloves of elephant garlic compared to this whole bed of the German white garlic here. So I think that I might take a few of the largest cloves of this and replant them just to keep the experiment going and see what happens. And I'm definitely going to try eating some of this just to see how we like it. A lot of people say that elephant garlic has a little bit milder of a flavor than regular garlic because while it is related, it's not actually botanically an official garlic. I'm definitely going to take, see these little corms on the end, I'm definitely going to take those and replant those, but I think it might take a couple years for that to turn into a full-size head, so I'll try that and we'll see what happens. So as I'm looking at the rest of this garlic bed, let's walk around to the back here. I'm not sure if I'm going to harvest all of this or, well, let's pull out a couple heads and see how it looks and see if that one is definitely really small. Let me see if I can, let me find another one. So take a look at this here. This looks like it has, you know, a couple, I'm trying to get the camera to focus. Looks like it has a couple brown leaves, but I think that this garlic might actually need a little bit longer. Let me find one more test bulb to try. What about this one here? That one is also small, and you can see no signs of splitting. So I think what I'm going to do is hold off a little bit and probably come harvest the rest of this garlic a little bit later. So you can see the two test bulbs that I pulled up are really definitely on the small side, a lot smaller than I would expect for my classic German white garlic. And if you take a look at the plant here, you can see while there is some brown on the end, there is still quite a bit of green as well. That's all energy that can go into the plant. As I said, we don't want to wait for the entire plant to turn brown because at that point the cloves will be split and we will have lost quite a bit of shelf life. So I think what I'm going to do is actually hold off on harvesting the rest of this garlic. Probably in another week or so, I will do another test pull of a couple garlic heads and we'll see how they look. But I definitely think it was good that we harvested the elephant garlic today because, I mean, like I said, a lot of it's already splitting. So that's already going to have a fairly short shelf life. One other thing to note is, as I mentioned was likely to happen, I missed a couple garlic scapes when I was harvesting. But you can see how these garlic scapes are starting to stand upright. They're not curly like they were when we harvested the others, but they're not fully upright either. So some people like to use that as kind of a gauge to see if your garlic is ready to harvest or not. People say that when your garlic is ready to harvest, the garlic scapes will be standing straight up. That last little bit of curl will be gone. So we might try to use that as a gauge this year. A lot of people will intentionally leave one or two scapes on their garlic just so that they can see if that happens. So maybe we'll give that a try with the rest of the garlic. So that's just, you know, this is a quick little video today. This is actually the morning of July 4th. By the time you see this, I think it's going to be July 5th. So happy Independence Day if you live in the United States like I do. So I've got plans today, so it's just a quick little video today, but I wanted to give you an update on my garlic. I wanted to give you the results of my elephant garlic and just a little update progress report on the German white garlic. We'll be back probably next week or so to harvest the rest of the garlic. So I hope you're having a great day, and I can't wait to see you soon. I'll see you next time.